Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AI Legends, and yeah, guys, today I am back with the next part of what if Naruto was the king of Utsutskis and was neglected by his family. So, yeah, guys, I hope that you guys will enjoy this series just like you enjoy my other series, and hopefully, this series will not be discarded. So, without any further ado, but before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to this channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It will really help me a lot as I want to reach 10k as quick as possible. So in this journey, I hope that you guys will support me as I am quite near to 8k subscribers. So if you guys are new to this channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. So without wasting any more time, let us start our video. Last time we left off as we saw that how the Otsutski king wanted to change the Otsutskis, not wanted to take over, you can say other planets in past, but still his people gone against him, and finally a rebellion happened, and in the end Otsutski king was stabbed from behind by his brother who was seemingly on his side, but in the end he was a traitor, and his brother was ready to, you can say, take the crown as the new Otsutski king, while on the other hand the Otsutski king was dead, but still his karma seal was placed in the universe as he was able to, you can say, go around the universe wanting to find someone worthy, already knowing that because the way he died, no longer can reincarnate himself into some other mortal body, but still he can choose someone worthy enough. And finally, in the end, he saw that how Naruto was neglected, but still he had a will and a heart of gold, and he finally chooses him, seeing how much this kid resemble, you can say, made him remember his love life and the one he truly loved. So he finally gave all of his power to Naruto. So without any further ado, let us start our video. As the Otsutsuki king, after explaining everything, simply vanishes as he said, "Well, Naruto, I know what this world has done to you, but it is your choice what you will do. If you take revenge on them, then it is also your choice. If you forgive them, then that is your choice. You have the power to do everything now." As while on the other hand, my Usuki companion will come here to get their hands on you to finish you off after you receive this power. But trust me, if you train hard enough, you will be able to achieve the power where they will not no longer stand against you. All of the Usuki's army were nothing compared to me. I only got stabbed by my brother from behind. So remember that and be aware of your surroundings. And if you want to take the revenge, then it is your choice. As after saying that, he simply vanished into nothingness, as Naruto was pretty surprised. Out of nowhere, he had received so much power, he feel the power inside of him bubbling, as but his body was starting to, you can say, change as well. While on the other hand, he looked back towards Kurama, who was pretty shocked and surprised and scared at the same time. Someone who called his father like nothing. He knew about Kaguya Otsutsuki, the mother of Sage of Six Path. The Sage of Six Path and his brother, both of them fought against her for almost months, and in the end, they barely were able to win. While on the other hand, Kaguya was so strong, and this guy was telling that Kaguya was just a lowly Otsutsuki, and he could feel the power that is just bubbling around this kid. As to be honest, he was scared, as before he thought that there was only one Ten Tails in the whole universe, but it seemed that the Otsutsuki King has devoured and several Ten Tails, and Nine Tails himself was just a part of Ten Tails, nothing compared to the original being. And he knew the gap of power between them now. As he looked towards Naruto, as Naruto was absorbing everything, as how he has all of this power now, and he could feel and some of the, you can say, memories of knowledge how to use some of his power, not all of them, but in time his body will adopt to all of this power and he will obtain everything. As then he looked towards Ninetail and said, so you're the reason, huh? I was hated all of this time. For a moment, Kurama was scared knowing that this kid now possessed the power to completely eliminate him, not knowing if he died here, if he would ever be able to regenerate. As Kurama only looked towards Naruto, as then Naruto could already feel the emotion of the beast. As he said, as he smiled at him and said, "To be honest, I am putting nothing against you." This surprises Kurama, as Naruto, you can say, snapped his finger, and then whole mindscape started to change as Kurama's eyes widened. Now it was a garden, and instead of cage in front of him, it was just, you can say, a small, you can say, collar. Though he did not like it, but still, as this being in front of him had the power to completely erase him, as Naruto said, well, I did not knew I could do that, but it seemed that unconsciously I am receiving some of the knowledge of that Otsutski king, was it? Pretty interesting. As he looked towards Kurama and said, so, mind explaining me what is going on around the world and why things were like that? Though I have a general idea that I was hated because you were inside of me. So why not explain the story you have, Nine Tails? As Kurama only nodded at that as he said, well, kid, to be honest with you, right now, you may be stronger than I am. Though Kurama did not want you to admit it, but still, what he is feeling from this kid was enormous. It was like Kurama's own chakra was just a drop in a large ocean. As he said, well, allow me to explain from the very beginning. Just like the Ususuki king said, my father, Hagoromo Ususuki, was the one who separated us from the being known as the Ten Tails. He was our father, as we are just chakra beings with some consciousness inside of us, nothing more than that. But still, we have enormous power. But our only weakness is Genjutsu of the Sharingan. First, it was Madara Uchiha who put me in the Genjutsu to fight off against your first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, as not only nodded, already remembering the story he heard about the legendary first Hokage and his Mokuton. As then, the Ninja said, well, I was controlled back then and I was sealed into Mito Uzumaki. After that, when Mito died, she gave me to your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto raised an eyebrow on that, as he did not knew that his mother was a Jinchuriki as well. Jinchuriki. As he looked towards Kurama and said, what's a Jinchuriki? It just name came to my mind. As Kurama nodded and said, well, it could be because the Ususuke king was watching the universe along with this planet, wanted to find someone you can say worthy in his words. Though I still do not know why he chose you. At this, he felt a bit of shiver going through his spine when Naruto only glared at him. As Kurama quickly changed the topic and said, well, those who have the tail base inside of them are known as the Jinchurikis. As Naruto only nodded, as he said, well, on the day of your birth, and your sister. I was, you can say, pulled out of your mother because the seal was weak. It seemed that someone who might have the eyes of the Mother Uchiha or Mother Uchiha himself was the one there because those eyes and their power was the only thing that could actually control me. As Naruto only nodded and said, so you were forced to attack the village, huh? As Kurama only nodded at that. As Naruto said, well, that is, to be honest, pretty sad about it. Pretty sad of a thing. This surprises Kurama. It's not so sad, to be honest. I can already feel that what could have happened. You are hated because of no good reason. As you're a being like a balance of power in the world, but still, people hated you and feared you just like they hated me and feared me for no reason. As this surprises Kurama, but a bit of understanding was also there. After all, this kid was considered to be his incarnation, and he felt what he would have felt as or was feeling all of these years after the death of his father. As then Naruto looked towards him. To be honest, right now, I do not know what I will do in the future about these villagers and all, but one thing is for sure, I'm not going to take their abuse anymore. As Kurama surprised was a bit surprised at that. He thought that after achieving all of this power, he will obliterate this place into pieces. As he can see that if Kurama can destroy just you can say with a single palm a section of the village, then this kid can do much more, and I mean really much more. As but there was a bit of hatred, and who knows, one day this hatred could grow even further. As Naruto looked towards Kurama and said, but in the future will decide if these people are ready to change. But still, I doubt it. But if they do not, then I will pass my judgment after all the torture they have done to me, as they will have no mercy. As he looked towards Kurama, so mind telling me what's the story of my parents, huh? As Kurama nodded and said, well, it is pretty clear. You were sleeping, but I was always awake inside of you because you were just a kid. It seemed that your family was forced to put up the law that whoever attacks you shall not be, you can say, meet with consequences. At this, a bloodlust, you can say, energy and anger was felt across the mindscape, which put Kurama to the ground as he was barely able to move his head upward, as this was the pressure being emitted by Naruto as he said, what? What do you mean by that? As Kurama gulped a little and said, well, it's pretty simple. The council wanted your father to put up that law because they wanted to exact the revenge on the Nine Tails incarnation. As Naruto looked towards him, so they think that I'm the Nine Tails, huh? So they forced my father and family. As Kurama nodded, was well, they could have chosen you. It was a simple choice, either village or you. So they chose the village. As Naruto gritted his teeth on that as he clenched his face pretty tight. Even inside of his mindscape, the blood was leaking. By the force, he was clutching his fist as he gritted his teeth once more as he said, So, that's the reason, huh? As Kurama said, well, in actuality, they also wanted to hide the fact that your siblings also possess some of my chakra. As Naruto said, what? They also possess you, huh? As Kurama shook his head, no, actually, they possess 10% of each of my chakra. I am only 80% of my full power. As Naruto only nodded at that, as he said, So the council forces them to choose between the village and me, and they chooses the village as and hid the fact that my other siblings also have your chakra and put all the blame on me. Isn't that right, huh? As Kurama nodded at that, yeah, they have put all the blame on you, saying that you're the only Jinchuriki of the nine tails. As it was even before that your father was being forced by the council, he only announces you to be the Jinchuriki, possessing all of my power and leaving your siblings out of it. As Naruto was pretty angry after hearing that as he gritted his teeth as he said, so that is all, huh? As he started to walk away, as Kurama said, so what are you going to do about it now? As Naruto simply shrugged and said, right now you enjoy your time and I will observe them a little and I will decide what will I do. And at the moment, I would like to train a little. As he looked towards his hand and clenched his face, he could feel the power and there was some barriers inside of him as well, as if holding his power back, a lot of it. Even Kurama could tell there were hundreds of barriers. After all, the power of the Otsutski king was not something that anyone could wield, especially not a kid, even if he is the Uzumaki. As then, Naruto started to walk back, and now the training has finally begun. As Naruto started to train within his power, arriving to the training ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death, as he said, this is pretty interesting place, huh? As Kuruma speak out, well, it is known as the Forest of Death. As Naruto only nodded at that, as then suddenly you can say several spiders also started to rush towards him. As Naruto pointed towards them, as he said, Almighty push! As Naruto's eyes changed into the Rinnegan as he sent flying all the animals that were rushing towards him, ready to eat him up. As Naruto said, it seemed that the first thing I got was the Rinnegan. Already knowing about the knowledge, and knowledge was simply coming to his mind out of nowhere. As Kurama nodded at that, it could be possibility of the Otsutski king knowledge as well as his power coming to Naruto in time and how to use his powers. As then Naruto said, so this is the Rinnegan, Almighty push. As then Kurama speak out, well, it is also the eyes of my father, Hagoromo. He also possessed all of the, you can say, powers of the Rinnegan and the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. As Naruto nodded and said, if I'm not wrong, Sharingan is just a lower version of the Rinnegan, right? As Kurama nodded, yeah, Sharingan cannot be compared to the Rinnegan. Its power is legendary. As Naruto smirked at that, as finally the training has begun, and now we have a small time skip. As Naruto was walking to the village, pretty calm and you can say a bored expression on his face as people were looking towards him, giving him disgusted look and some of them angry. After seeing the facial expression of the kid, he was walking and simply ignoring them as if they were not even any of importance. After Naruto achieved all of this power started to, you can say, change his demeanor a little, as he could feel the power around him, around the world, around the beings, even inside of Kurama, his family, as well as these people, and he could tell that their chakra is like that of an ant in a forest, as that was how you can say he's feeling their power, and he could not even believe that at some point he was scared of them, and now he's giving them open challenge, do what they must and they will feel the, and you can say this time they will face the consequences and there will be no fourth Hokage, no council, no shinobi, and no one is going to save them. As Naruto started to walk, as he saw that how the mob started to gather all around him, as Naruto only smirked at that, while inside of Kurama, who smirked back. In this small time, Naruto started to befriend Kurama, even though Kurama was a bit scared of him after sensing all of this power feeling like he could just destroy him without whatsoever, you can say, trouble whatsoever. As Naruto, you can say, started to walk towards the alleyways as all the, you can say, shinobi and the civilians smirk at that, already knowing that the alley was blocked as all of them rushed towards the area, ready to, you can say, kill the brat. Finally, it is their time to get the revenge on the demon. As they arrived on the alleyway smirking, as they saw that Naruto was there leaning to the wall, as well as folding his arms, looking upward, bored, in bored expression, and some of the Chunins were also there who scoffed at that. As he said, "Hey demon, what are you doing here?" With a huge smirk on his face, while other one had a scowl on his face, thinking that the demon was ignoring them. How dare he? As Naruto simply did not only ignored him, not even looking towards him, as this made the Chunin even more angry. As he said, "Do not ignore me, you damn demon!" As he rushed towards Naruto, ready to punch him on the face, ready to show the demon his original place. But to everyone, utter shock, as when he simply arrived to the, you can say, 5 feet of area around Naruto, as then suddenly his body was engulfed, as, you can say, in green flames, and in front of everyone's eyes he just disintegrated into nothingness, as everyone's eyes widened at that. As Naruto stepped forward and said, "It's about time, huh?" As he looked towards all of them, one of them was the father of Ibiki, you can say, Sakura Haruno, also known as Ibiki Haruno, as he glared at the boy and said, "You demon, what have you done to him?" As he looked towards the, you can say, burning body, as not even ashes remained, as they flew to the air. As some of the civilians took a step back in pure fear, as Naruto said, "All of this time I was facing, you guys torture, you glared at me, spit at me, beat me, stabbed me, burnt me. Now it's about time that you guys started to face the consequences of your actions." At this, everyone looked towards him pretty scared for a moment, as Naruto's eyes changed to the slit as of the nine tails, only to intimidate them, as everyone took a step back, as one of the Jonin that was there and said, I already knew that. You're always a demon. Yeah, we knew that." As Naruto smirked, a demon you say? Pretty pathetic, and listen to me, and listen well. You're nothing. Your power is pathetic, just as your face. As the one gritted his teeth. "And what did you say? I killed several people. If they were just ants, then they deserve to die." As the all the, you can say, shinobi that were they gritted their teeth, even the civilians were angry. As they said, "Now it's about time that you guys face the consequences. I was never the demon, as the nine days was only sealed inside of me, just like a kunai in a scroll. And if you guys do not understand that, then you are no shinobi. And it's about time that I put you in your proper place. Don't worry, I will not kill you guys, but still, it would be fun. And you guys will enjoy it definitely." As Naruto looked towards them, as the Jonin quickly go to hand side, fast style, get fireball jutsu, as the other one said wind style, as breakthrough. At this moment, Naruto was around 8 years old. In this time, he was simply training with his body and with his power and all. As Naruto was looking towards them, as a great fireball was simply coming towards him, as Naruto put a hand towards it, to everyone utter shock, as Jonin says huge smirks, as well as Chunin smirking that now the demon will burn. They do not know how the other Chunin got burned, but they do not care. There's no way that demon is any stronger than a filth. As to their utter horror and shock, Naruto's hand simply absorbed the fireball like it was not even there. As Naruto said, "Now, let us have some fun, wouldn't you agree?" As Naruto snapped his finger, and then suddenly the black rod started to appear from the ground, stabbing the civilian through their legs, through their gut, and as well as even the Jonin was caught off guard as a rod simply pierced through his gut, as he let out a scream of pain. As Naruto said, "Alright, there is a friend of mine who once told me about a jutsu. Well, that's a jutsu in which you dream about good things. What was the name again?" As Kurama said, "Infinite Tsukiyomi." As Naruto said, "Yeah, but how about a different jutsu?" As then he snapped his finger, and then a aura started to, you can say, a seal appeared beneath everyone that were there in pure pain and agony, and then their eyes changed into the Rinnegan. As them, they could feel the nine tails ripping their throat, killing them over and over again, and then, you can say, feeling like as they were burning torture of months, as For a whole month, they were being tortured by enemy shinobis and those type of things as Naruto was killing them over and over again. Those type of things as they were finally on the ground. As Naruto simply went past them, not even cared about them and said, huh, that will teach them a lesson to not mess with me. But if they do, then they will pay. As Naruto simply went past them, not even cared about them. As then now, let us go to a timescape of the next day as there was an uproar in the council meeting as all the shinobi council and Minato was there. When Minato got the message, he was pretty confused that there is an urgent meeting of the council and they are demanding his presence. Though Minato was pretty angry that only because only Hokage has the power to call for the council and these people were now passing through the limits. He was not the third Hokage who will allow them to do things and right now has to be there as he arrived to the council room with his Ambo as everyone stood for the honor of the fourth Hokage. As Minato took his seat and said, alright, let the council meeting begin. First of all, I would like to ask who called for this meeting. As then, Ibiki, you can say the father of Sakura Haruno, no, the mother of Sakura Haruno stood up along with one or two civilian and said, well, Lord Hokage, we are the one who called for this meeting. As Minato, you can say, looked towards her and then Glare arrived and said, well, Miss Haruno, do you not know that only the Hokage is allowed to call for the meeting? No, the council member has the power to call the council. As Minato glared at her as she could feel the bloodlust as well as the key pointed towards the civilian council. As then one of the, you can say, civilian council stood up, well, Lord Hokage, we would like to apologize, but there are an important matter. Otherwise, we would not have called for this meeting. As Minato said, alright, I will hear this important matter of yours. If it is not important as you say, then I will have your head. At this, the council member frowned as they always get, you can say, get away with calling meetings when it was the time of third Hokage. But it seemed that Minato was getting pretty angry about it. As one of the council members said, well, Lord Hokage, we have something to report about that demon boy. As Minato looked towards him and then said, what is the law, Danzo? Would you like to explain it to me? As Danzo grated his teeth, this was one of these loyal members. As Danzo said, according to the law, no one can call Naruto a demon or the Nine Tails, though they had the right to exact their revenge by beating him if they so desire. As Minato snapped his finger and then suddenly several Ambus arrived pointing their swords to his neck as they were about to cut it, but then Koharu spoke up, well, Lord Hokage, first, you should hear what they have to say. It seems that the civilian member is pretty terrified about it, so let it pass this time. As Minato looked towards him, giving him a glare, but he simply nodded as the Ambu went off. As Minato said, my law still stands. If anyone were to call him a demon or the Nine Tails, they will have their head removed. Do I make myself clear? As he speak in a commanding manner to the council as all of them shook their head. As then he said, well, Lord Hokage, your son, somehow, I do not know, he has been killing civilians and the shinobis. As Minato raised an eyebrow. You're saying that an 8 years old is killing full-grown civilians, and the shinobis who are trained and sent to the missions. What is the point of this? As he looked towards the elders and the Danzo, as one of the elders stood up, well, Lord Hokage, it is pretty simple. Your son, Naruto Uzumaki, has attacked several Jonins and Chunis, as well as the civilian members, and he has beaten them pretty badly. Some of them are in the hospital, and most of them have gone totally crazy, out of their mind. As Minato was pretty confused about it, he did not heard about any of this. As he said, one of the council members said, yeah, we demand but before he could complete his sentence, as he grated his head, that boy is to be put, you can say, to the trial in front of council. As Minato glared at him and said, the one who has the power to trial anyone is only the Hokage, not the council. Their work is only to advise, nothing more than that. As Minato said in a commanding manner. As the council members gritted their teeth on that, they always had the power all the time of third Hokage. They could easily demand for the, you can say, trials if they so desire. As then Minato said, alright, as Ambu landed, bring me the member who are injured in this incident and why I'm not you can say, informed about it, as Ambo nodded and said, "Alright, Lord Hokage," as he went off and bring some of the members as they were in pretty bad condition, as these were the Jonins and the Chunins there. As he said, "Lord Hokage," as Minato looked towards them and then towards their body as there are several injuries all over. As he said, so give me the report. As they started to spin and said, well, we were doing our thing and we were about to beat but before he could complete his sentence, Minato actually glare pierced through his, you can say, soul, as Minato was getting angry whenever people were simply calling his son a demon and telling him proudly that how they were beating the son of Hokage. But Minato graded his teeth, knowing that right now he cannot do anything about it. As then he said, well, we surrounded him and we were about to beat him, but suddenly he retaliated. I don't know. But then one of the shinobi released a fireball towards him. As then Minato stood up in pure anger as he said, what? You released a fireball towards him? How dare you? I did as but before he could say anything, Danzo said, well, Lord Hokage, you allowed them to beat him, right? As Minato glared at him, yeah, I did that, but a fireball can easily kill a Ganin. Are you saying that you have no trouble that this guy killed my son? Not only my son, but also the Jinchuriki of the village, damn it. As he kicked the table away, as Danzo knew that now he's getting it. As Minato glared at him, as then Koharu said, well, Lord Hokage, allow him to complete, then you have the right to judge and pass the judgment. As Minato gritted his teeth and said, continue. As he said, well, he simply, you can say, fireball simply disappear from after touching his hand. This surprises many of the, you can say, the clanmen who know about the chakra and all and know that there is no technique who can simply make a fireball disappear, not even the wind style. As then he said, well, suddenly rods appeared out of nowhere, stabbing over all of our body, and then we were put in some type of genjutsu. Yeah, it was a genjutsu. We were tortured for a whole month, as everyone was looking towards them, while on the other hand, civilian members were scared out of their mind. As they said, yeah, he's getting way too strong. We have to kill him. Yeah, that's the only way. We have to kill the demon. As after those words left his mouth, a sword simply pierced through his neck, cutting his head off, as it was an Ambu member with a white hair. As Minato only nodded at that, while other council members were scared. As Minato said, so you're saying that a 8 years old, who's not even the academy, not only beat you, Jonins, when you released a fireball at him, it disappeared, right? And then rods appear out of nowhere, and he put you guys in again Chusu, where you guys stayed for 30 days. As he simply nodded, as all the civilians that were there also nodded at that, who were at least the one who were able to contain the torture and still were there after 1 month of recovery and all. But still, as Minato looked towards the Shinobi Council and then towards Danzo and elders, as Koharu said, well, the little boy is getting way too dangerous. We have to put him in a cage and we have to put him, as one of the elders said, yeah, we should give him to Danzo. He will train the boy in the proper manner and we cannot allow him. He will be punished for a treason against the village. As Minato said, so you're saying that a boy who has beaten fully grown civilians, not only that, also beaten these shinobis out of their, you can say, look at them, Now tell me the correct and the only truth there is. I do not believe that the little boy has beaten you guys this badly, even if he is the container of the 9 tastes. As Koharu said, well, why not call the boy here and ask him personally? I'm pretty sure that if he were to lie, we can easily detect, or if he is possessed by the 9 tastes, we can also detect it thanks to our Inoichi and the head of Fugakuchiya, the head of... No, let's forget about it, as there is Uchiha massacre in this series, as I have missed it in many of my series, so it's about time that in this series there will be an Uchiha massacre. As then Minato said, alright, bring Naruto Uzumaki to me. As then Ambu nodded as he went off, and after some time Naruto entered into the room, as most of them realized something, as the demeanor that Naruto has changed pretty much. At this moment, as always, they look at the boy when he was in the village or in the streets. There was always a scare. He was scared. In his eyes, it could easily be seen. As many of the council members had pity after looking towards him, but they knew that it was a, you can say, necessary evil, a sacrifice that they had to make for the sake of village. As Naruto looked towards Minato, as Minato said, hello, Naruto. As Naruto said, Hokage, you called me. At this, Minato flinched, as it was like, well, come to think of it, as it has been years that Naruto has not even called him father or dad, something like that. As a matter of fact, he has not even talked to him. Even at this moment, Minato could barely look at his eyes as Minato. But right now, he was at the seat of Hokage and he has to question Naruto no matter what. As he said, well, Naruto, son, it is pretty simple. These people are claiming that you have beaten them, as well as they try to use their ninja techniques on you, but you simply made them disappear somehow, as well as made rods out of nowhere, putting them in a Genjutsu or something like that. Would you like to tell me what actually happened? As Naruto looked towards them and said, I have never seen them in my whole life. As in a blank, you can say, expression, as most of them were trying to read the boy and they could easily tell that he was not lying. But it was like strange. They could not detect any lie whatsoever. As then one of the Johnny said, "You damn brat!" As he was about to say demon, but he looked towards Minato. What are you saying? You do not recognize me? I have been beating you from since the age of 4. How dare you? As everyone looked towards him, as Minato was now clenching his face pretty tight, as Naruto was now looking towards him, as if Minato could see that Naruto was looking towards him as if his father, after hating it from the person who has been beating him from so long, will do anything. As Minato clenched his face, as his heart was breaking even more and more, as other also nodded. Yeah, he was the one who beat us. Yeah, he should be executed for it. As Naruto looked towards them and said, I do not know about you, Hokage, but last time I checked, as 8 years old do not beat Jonins and Chunins. If the shinobi of this village are so weak, then there is no wonder that a whole 9 tails appeared to the village out of nowhere, and the shinobi were sleeping on their asses, not even able to figure out when the giant beast was able to cross the whole forest, whole mountains, whole you can say fire nation and appear to their homes, and they were sleeping at that. At that, everyone flinched, as this was really, you can say, you can what to say, a disrespect to most of them, as everyone glared at him. As Naruto said, well, if you can say that 8 years old can beat Jonis and Junis, then perhaps they should be sent back to the academy to learn some basics here and there. As most of them, who you can say pretty amused by it, were Shikaku, Nara, as well as Choji. What was his name again? Choza, yeah, Choza Akamichi. As while on the other hand, Koharu said, how dare you, little brat? You cannot insult the shinobis. We are far stronger than you. A brat like you cannot even touch us. As Naruto said, that's the exact point I'm making here. And for this, you have called me so that you can question me that how 8 years old has beaten your Jonins and all. They must be lying. I bet they were simply drinking and all and had the great idea to fire the case so that I could be executed. I do not know why you guys even hated me in the first place, but I have accepted the fact that how this village hated me. But if you're trying to say that how I have beaten your Jonin and trying to make, you can say, excuses so that you can execute me, then why not? Why are you guys even making the excuses? Are you guys not in power? As he looked towards Minato, Hokage, you have all the power. If you want to execute me, just give the damn orders and get rid with it. Do not try to, you can say, put blames on me. As this Minato heart even flinched even further. As he shook his head, well, Naruto, that is not the case. I'm sorry, you may leave. As Koharu said, what, Lord Hokage, you cannot do that. As Minato glared at him, that is enough. As they simply nodded at that. As Naruto, after saying that, started to walk away. As then, he simply looked towards the Jonins as well as the Chunin and the civilians that were there, as his eyes flickered to the red as they had to step back a little in pure fear. As Naruto simply went past them, no one noticed when his eyes changed. As then, Naruto said, that was interesting. As Kurama said, pretty much, Naruto. As Naruto said, Kurama, let's see. I am feeling like some of my abilities are coming to me. I could feel another push So let's go. We have some training to do. As Kurama nodded at that, as Naruto simply vanished into the thin air, appearing in the forest of death, ready to train even further, so that he could obtain all of the abilities of the Otsutski king, knowing that one day Otsutski will arrive at this planet and that day will decide the future of this world. As now, Kaoru said, Lord Hokage, you simply cannot ignore the boy. As Minato said, I have more than enough of this. I am already checking the seals over and over again, and I have already told you the seal is in place. As everyone gritted their teeth. And if you're saying that, tell me, how did 8 years old beat all of these people? As one of them stood up, he must have used the power of the demon. He's a demon. As Minato glared at him and said, you should have learned something from your fallen friend, pointing towards the body which was disappearing by the hands of Ambu, as Ambus were ready to cut his head off, but he simply sit down and said, I'm sorry, Lord Hokage, but the point I'm making here, he must have used the power of the nine tails. There is only that explanation. Yeah, that is the only way. He's He's the nine tails. As Minato sighed and said, well, if he was the nine tails, you guys are beating him for over 4 years. He would have killed you, all of you. If he was the nine tails, none of them were alive here. And if you're talking about the Genjutsu, then you should know none of the Jinchuriki in the whole world can do a single Genjutsu because of their chakra reserves and as well as the you can say chakra control problems. We are the shinobis, we know better. As he looked towards Danzo and said, you are calling that how you want to be Hokage, but you do not even know a single thing that how 8 years old, no matter how strong, you saw him, right? As even if we used the Ninetales power, then we would have sensed it at least. And you're saying that you want to become Hokage in the future. As Danzo gritted his teeth at that, it was an insult to his pride, as most of the Shinobi Council already knew it. As Minato said, alright, tell me now. As he looked towards the Jonin and the Chunins, as they said, but we are telling the truth. As Minato glared and said, as he looked towards the one who said that how he's beating Naruto for over 4 years, as he said, Ambu, as several Ambus arrived beside him and said, take our friend to Ibiki, as well as all of them. I want the full detail. As they simply nodded, as the Jonin said, but Lord Hokage, as he's a demon. As they were trying their best to explain, but Minato was now pretty angry. As Danzo said, Minato, you simply cannot send them to Ibiki. As Minato said, we will get the full detail after Inoichi-san here. We'll go to their mind and see what actually happened to them. As Inoichi nodded, as Minato said, well, guess what? Why not come with us? We shall see what actually happened. As they nodded at that, as Inoichi went to Ibiki at the IT department, as Inoichi looked towards the Jonin, Minato just wanted an excuse to execute this damn guy who was a Jonin and had the audacity to beat the Hokage's son. As he looked towards them, as then the Jonin said, yeah, go to my mind. You will be able to see that how that damn brat was the one. I do not know how he did it. He must have used the power of the nine tails. He's a demon. As Inoichi sighed and said, just shut up already. As they put a hand on the head of the, you can say, person, and then he arrived into his head. After some time, he arrived back and said, Lord Hokage, I have gotten all the information. As Minato said, so explain, Inoichi-san. As Danzo and Koharu were sure that how this time the demon will be put under the command of Hokage, who was under the command of Danzo, who was smirking inwardly. As then Inoichi said, well, Lord Hokage, it's pretty simple. They simply wanted an excuse to execute the so-called demon, and that's the main reason they came up with a plan. They disguised themselves, some of them disguised as the kid, and beat these civilians, and he was the leader of all of them as a Jonin, as warden. As he said, what? That is not what happened. As Inoichi said, well, I have already seen a lot, and it's about time that you will pay for your crimes. As Minato nodded, that cleared everything. As he looked towards them, for harming a boy, not only that, wasting the time of Hokage, and also, you can say, pointing fingers towards a fellow shinobi and trying to put him in harm's way. Now you will be executed. As he said, but Lord Hokage, no, that is not how happened. As all the Chunins were saying, yeah, as these were the people who were leading the mobs most of their times. As now they were about to be executed, as Minato was inwardly pretty happy about the situation, while on the other hand, Naruto simply went off, training even further in his powers, and now he has most of the chakra control and many other abilities you guys will see in the future. But okay, guys, let's go a little bit more. as Minato finally came to the home as he saw that Naruto was not there as he was still outside as she said, as Kushina said, so Minato, how was your day? With a smile on her face as Minato sighed, well it seemed that some Jonin has a bright idea to file some complaint that Naruto has attacked some civilians and all. At this, all the, you can say, Minato as Kushina's eyes widened. What? As did he do that? As Minato shook his head, nah, he was just lying. After Inoichi go through his head, they were able to find out. To be honest, though, Naruto, I had to summon him there in the council room with a regret in his eyes, as this was one of the difficult days he actually had. As he said, well, in the end of the day, I have executed him. As Kushina smiled at that, yeah, that will teach them a lesson. As Minato nodded, but I don't think that things are going to remain low for some time. I can already feel something is coming, Kushina, in the village. As Kushina sighed at that, Minato, you will explain everything. As Minato nodded. But okay guys, here I will leave this part. Hope you guys enjoy it. For the next part, the like goal is going to be 200 likes and 180 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as quick as possible. So yeah guys, I hope that you guys enjoy it. So peace.